Barrett Kroeger, who we mentioned just a little while ago in our conversation there. He finished first in the standings after the Swiss yesterday and today, playing against Grant Wilkinson with Reanimator. And these guys still in game one, and wow, that's a board state.
Wow, Elish Norn, that is a monster.
She is a Praetor, actually.
Praetors are monsters too.
Sure. I can get jiggy with that.
Did you just quote some Will Smith on me?
I think I did. Sorry. I apologize.
No worries.
I heard a story about Will Smith yesterday.
I did too. It was one about how parents just don't understand. Okay. Tarmogoyf, Nimble Mongoose. Very outclassed by Elish Norn.
Yeah, I hope that Barrett has Threshold right now, because otherwise that's a dead Mongoose, right?
We see a double block.
Goyf is apparently 3/4 now. Is it a 5/6 or is it? Well, whatever it is, it's dead.
I think that was a 3/4 after the -2/-2.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
We're going to see an attempt to Lightning Bolt to finish off the Elish Norn. No, says Grant.
As the Force of Will. Removing, was it another Force?
It looked like Force removing Force, but I'm not sure of that.
It was. He's looks like, I think it was anyway. And Barrett Kroeger going to fight back with his own Force, and Grant has another Force. So, counter magic battle here.
Fight.
And
now it's Goyf, not Goyf, pardon me, Goose versus Elish.
Yeah, this isn't looking good for Barrett here in this game, but he's still got two more that he can pick up after this if he drops this one. So Elish Norn attacks, Mongoose gets in the way,
and that's
Barrett
into that
scoops him
game.
up. So Grant Wilkinson with Reanimator takes game one from Barrett Kroeger, piloting Rug Delver. Barrett's had a great weekend. He did lose in the top 8 yesterday in the quarterfinals to eventual finalist Preston Stone, also piloting Blue White Delver. So Barrett trying to get at least a little deeper here, trying to get to the semifinals in this match. It's going to be an uphill battle. For those of you just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco, here in the booth with Adrian Sullivan.
Hello.
We're coming to you live from Denver, Colorado, where we are covering the quarterfinals of the StarCityGames.com Legacy Open. And we've already seen a blazingly fast quarterfinal match.
Now Barrett
featuring Goblin Charbelcher.
Oh yeah, Goblin Charbelcher just totally smashing things in lickety-split time.
Yeah, it was in actual game time, it was, I think, less than 3 minutes. Counting the shuffling and mulliganing in between, it was about 9.5 minutes.
The number of draw phases that occurred was 2 in the entire match.
Wow.
Barrett Kroeger.
Oh, he didn't win on turn 1 in the first game.
Didn't he?
No, he
that's fair.
emptied the Warrens in turn
he
1.
virtually won on turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, he emptied the Warrens for what, 10 goblins?
For 10 goblins on turn 1.
On turn 1, so.
And there's nothing Maverick can do about 10 goblins on turn 1 when it hasn't taken a turn yet.
But there were more than 2 draw phases.
Okay, lawyer man.
Hey, I'm just trying to get it right because I may just ask the trivia question. How many draw phases? No, that's not what I'm going to ask. We will be asking you guys another trivia question so that you have another opportunity to get some Star City Premium access. But first, we'll give away 3 months after the quarterfinals.
Now, poor Barrett Kroeger, either way, he is trying to change his luck around and make it past the quarterfinals this time. Okay, so sideboarding for Barrett. Submerge, not so great. There's no forests to be found on the other side of the table.
Nope.
Otherwise, that would be so awesome, but alas. Grafdigger's Cage,
that's probably coming in.
It's casting from the graveyard, right? And then
no, it can't come into play from the graveyard.
Can't come into play from the graveyard, okay.
So Grafdigger's Cage is good.
Grafdigger's Cage will do some work then. Okay. Flusterstorm seems reasonable in counterspell fights. Not great.
Not great, but it's considerable. You can consider it. Gilded Drake.
Gilded Drake is awesome.
Very good here.
And Red Elemental Blast and Force of Will.
Times 2, yeah, he's got, so there's 3 counterspells he can bring in addition to 1 Tormod's Crypt. So I think he's got a reasonable amount of cards he can bring in. If he goes Grafdigger's Cage, Gilded Drake, Tormod's Crypt, there's 3, and then 3 counterspells and 2 Red Blasts, 1 Force. That's 6 cards. What does he take out?
I would say he would take out some of his weaker burn spells. Not just Lightning Bolt and Fire Ice. That's 6 burn spells.
That could be it. I mean, he's got a Scavenging Ooze there. That could also come in handy. That's main deck. Didn't apparently see it that game, or at least we didn't. But Scavenging Ooze can also come in handy here to keep Grant's graveyard empty.
And on the other side of the table, Grant can bring in the City of Traders Show and Tell combo to fight the Graveyard Hate, so that he can just dodge the graveyard. And then Perish is amazing against Rug Delver.
Blazing Archon, not so bad either.
Blazing Archon's a good card.
Other than that, yeah, I think that's it. He might bring in 6 cards himself, right? Or I'm sorry, it looks like he's got 5, 6, 7, 8 cards he could bring in here. And that's if he's not considering Spell Pierces.
Right. And the sideboarding, of course, of Reanimator, always an interesting prospect when you're talking about a deck that can become a partial show and tell deck.
Right, it's actually tough to make the decision. You're like trying to next level each other. All right, he's a Reanimator deck. I want to bring in my Graveyard Hate. But what if he brings in, switches out to the show and tell, now my Graveyard Hate seems kind of dead. So maybe I don't bring my Graveyard Hate. You know, you have the Princess Bride all over again.
You bested my giant, so clearly you must be a strong man. And you put the poison next to you. However, you also bested my Spaniard. And so, in so doing, you must have studied.
That's the scene I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's the scene everybody always references. Now,
I love that scene.
I wanted to mention this. We didn't get to talk about it while these guys are shuffling. It looks like Grant's taking a mulligan here. Barrett's kept on 7, is that right? As far as you know, Shoebox? Barrett's kept on 7 and Grant going to 6 as far as we know at this point. Okay, maybe they're both still shuffling. Oh, and then maybe they're both mulliganing. That could be it. Well, we'll find out. Maybe they're both shuffling. We'll get that information in a minute. In the, I guess the past day, or maybe just the past few hours, Wizards has put up a page, or a number of pages, all about the guilds from Ravnica. Now,
what's your favorite guild?
It's tough because I love Azorius.
Really?
Yeah, I think Azorius might be my answer, but is it also really cool?
Interesting.
And then I also like Dimir. So you know.
I'm a Selesnya person because I had a long, awesome history with Selesnya. Mm-hmm. However, in theory, I would be a Simic person, but I just didn't like the Simic cards.
I think that's how I felt at the time as well. Like I wanted to, like I thought Simic was going to be the guild that I was most excited to play with, but I ended up not really sticking with Simic too much. And since then, I've become less of a green mage. So I think I'd have to go with Azorius, with Izzet as a potential contender to that. You know, it's Izzet the Rug Delver to Maverick, Maverick, or vice versa.
Is it really
to
the
Azorius
best
is Maverick.
guild?
I mean, I don't mean it as the best. I just mean like they're competing for the top slot, and some weeks I would answer Azorius, and other weeks I would answer Rug Delver, apparently.
Yeah, well,
or
I
just
don't know
Izzet.
that Rug is that's the Seta are not a guild.
I'm just trying to make an analogy here. All right. So anyway, what I was getting at, no cards spoiled, but some cool artwork spoiled. And so far, I've only gotten a chance to look at the Izzet and the Azorius artwork, but there is apparently some artwork of what appears to be Raul Zarek. There was some art spoiled of Raul Zarek maybe a year ago or more, and it was speculated that he was an Izzet. He looked very Izzet-esque, and it looks like he is, and it looks like we can expect him to show up in the fall, at least in the Ravnica block. So
what about Niz
that's
Nivet?
pretty exciting. Niv Mizzet is...
or Niv Mizzet, my bad.
Niv Mizzet is that... What? Yeah, that was...
Nicely done.
That was rough.
Done.
No, that was tough, actually. So, let's take a look at the Is It Guild really quick.
And we're beginning.
All right, so it looks like Barrett
Kroeger
kept to 7 and Grant went to 6, just as we had originally suspected. And turn 1, Tropical Island. Lost, sorry.
You can see a Force of Will in Barrett's hand. Turn 1, land, go.
And Grant plays Underground Sea. And that is a foil Entomb.
What is that card? Oh, it's Entomb. Wow.
Probably a Graveborn Entomb because I believe...
Force of Will.
Yeah, there's a Force of Will. It looks like it's in the new frame, so that's...
Tossing what? I can't tell what that is.
Could be Stifle. Looks like it could be Stifle. Barrett definitely playing Stifles. ×4, and those are the Judge promo Stifles, so yes.
One of the things to remember about these top 8 matches is that all of the players have access to each other's deck lists. There are no surprises here within the deck lists. Ponder, it's a fishy Ponder. Foil fishy Ponder. I see Days, Brainstorm. And Barrett checking to see what his land situation is here. Honestly, Days is a really good hand for him to keep if he has the land to be able to use it. And he does. Or he can just take one of them and toss the rest away.
Yeah, looks like he is going to crack his fetch land here. Going to 17. Fetching up another Tropical Island.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Joey Pasco. We're seeing the second match of our quarterfinal. It's Reanimator versus Rug Delver, Grant Wilkinson versus Barrett Kroeger. Barrett trying to change his luck from yesterday and make it from the quarterfinals into the semis.
So far he is down a game, so needs to pick up these next 2 to change that luck.
Nimble Mongoose is loose.
It's a start, and it is his graveyard currently, I believe, has 4 cards, 4 cards in it. Okay, so Careful Study says Grant, Days says Barrett, Force of Will says Grant.
Fight, fight.
A counter war.
And that's all.
And it looks like the Careful Study is going to resolve.
We're going to see our first card in the yard. I see a Reanimate available
Dropped
for
a
Grant.
Gristlebrand
Oh, that's scary.
into the yard.
And an Entomb, maybe?
It does look like another Entomb.
Oh, and he's got the mana for the Reanimate.
There's a fetch land. Cracks that. Going to 8. I'm sorry, not 8. 18. It's going to be pretty close to 8 after,
Yep.
after casting his Reanimate.
The Reanimate will take him all the way down to 10 life.
Yeah,
now,
it's going to take 8 there.
One of the things that's so scary about Reanimator is that now that it has Gristlebrand, it's practically like you're playing the old Tricks deck, which is to say, here you are, you have this crazy draw engine, you Force of Will to get it into play, then once it's in play, you just get another Force of Will.
Yeah. So Gristlebrand appears on the table, and Nimble Mongoose is shaking in its boots.
This could be a quick KO here for Barrett Kroeger.
You mean Barrett actually getting knocked out?
Oh, yeah.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense,
Yeah.
considering the board state. Barrett trying to figure out what he can do here. What, he does not have access to anything removal.
I mean, basically Barrett's options here at this point
Plays
are to
another
get
Nimble Mongoose.
a Gilded Drake into play. He needs a Gilded Drake, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's just that one Gilded Drake that he has access to deal with a on-board Gristlebrand.
And now, at this point, I think the game is basically over.
Yeah, this is where it really gets bad. So Grant now up to 17 after swinging with the Gristlebrand, getting that lifelink. He's going to use 2 of it to if he resolves a Thoughtseize, which appears that he is not. But or was it just one? No. What happened with that Thoughtseize?
Yeah, he got a Force of Will from it.
Oh. Didn't even see Barrett reveal his hand.
Or he got something, and the Force of Will is still there.
So he got something, we just don't know what. Okay. It was a Force. He's got a Force in hand, too. How many Forces does he have?
In for 2 or 6, I can't tell. Maybe 2?
Yeah, we're unable to see the graveyards now. I believe Barrett has Threshold.
And
so I'm going to say it was 6.
In comes Gristlebrand, gain 7. Now look, if you see this here, Grant could draw 7, but he doesn't actually have anything happening.
Yeah.
So he does not have to do it.
There's a Brainstorm from Barrett. We're going to get a life total update in just a moment, because Barrett is surely below 10, and I believe Grant is at 20. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Barrett at 3.
Also worth remembering that Stifle can stop the draw 7 ability.
It certainly
the
can.
cost is still paid.
Right.
But the 7 cards are not gained.
Yeah, so Grant, no need to press the attack here. He's just going to sit there with a 7/7 lifelinker, and
and now he finally draws the 7.
As we speak, there's
Yep.
there's the 7, and no Stifle available for Barrett. Grant now pretty much holding the win in his hand. Well, actually, it's probably on the table turned sideways there after gaining him 14 life.
Right.
But
he would be at -1. To be fair, he'd be at 6, right?
Yeah, right, because he wouldn't have drawn those 7.
Brainstorm appears to be resolving now.
Now, if Barrett is able to find a Gilded Drake and resolve it, that could really turn things around. But it's the resolving it part that's going to be the real tricky thing. After Grant just packed his hand. There it is.
Ooh,
All right, we're going to find
Drake.
out. Gilded Drake and
Brainstorm in response.
Brainstorm from Grant Wilkinson.
Oh, wow.
That's
What
scary.
if this happens? Oh, there's a Force of Will.
Yeah. Draws into Force with the Brainstorm, so got to put 2 cards back. Puts 2 cards back, says Force of Will. And we know Barrett. Yeah, Barrett only has 1 card. Gilded Drake. That's
the only answer he has. Yeah. That's the match right there. Boom, quick 2-0. Barrett Kroeger unable to make it through.
And we see Grant Wilkinson with Reanimator here, breaking through to the semifinals on the back of Gristlebrand. I think joining a number of other things stapled to the back of Gristlebrand.
Yep.
The